Hello and welcome to episode 2 of bringing Velolien Matsuyama, the worst Japanese team, all the way to Tour de France. And that's a big goal to have, so maybe we should start off with trying to win a race with this terrible Japanese team, not so great Japanese team. Last episode we got around 10 UCI points. Let's see if we can do better in this episode with plenty of races. So let's quickly go over them, starting off here with the Grand Prix Sonatrach. A Algerian race, a very flat race with a slight uphill there towards the end, something that would normally fit our sprinters quite well. Next up we have the Grand Prix de la Ville d'Alger, a very hilly race, not so good for our team, but we do have some hill and mountain riders. Hopefully they can perform in this one. All of them 1.2 race so far, and the same goes for Tour of Alanya. Again, another relatively flat race, some mountain sections in the middle, but the finish line will definitely be a mass sprint. Then we move on to one of the first tours, basically, the Visit South Asian Island Tour. 2 races, very hilly races with both uphill finishes. One very familiar to us. Let's see if we can perform in that one. Next up we have the Rhodes Grand Prix, another 1.2 race, another very flat race with a bit of a hill section in the middle. So it will be tricky for our sprinters to gain an advantage here towards the end, but let's see how they will do. Next up we have the Umag Classic, a Czech race, which again is very flat but has its own hilly sections there. It basically goes up, down towards the finish line. Next, a race I haven't done before, I feel Slovenia, which is very hilly, very mountainous, even though it's considered flat, a very tough one for our sprinters. Next up we have the Jamaica International Cycling Classic, very flat races, 3 of them. Perfect for our sprinters. I'm really hoping to get a good classification here, good general classification. That is what we'll aim for. And last but certainly not least, it is the Tour of Mersin. 2 flat stages and a hilly stage and 1 very mountainous stage. This might be a mistake to have signed up for, as we do not have any good mountain riders and most of our riders are just flat racers. But will we perform here? You'll have to find out. Let's start it off quickly with the Grand Prix Sonatrach. Again, a very flat race, still no commentator involved here at the beginning of this race, so I'll, do the commentary. And if you have any idea on how to activate the commentator in these races, please let me know. Again, a flat race, so it will definitely end up in a mass sprint, although it has an uphill finish, so it might be good for the punchers in our team. Either way, we have Hino with us, our main sprinter, who has -2 statistics, so not the best. I tried to do a breakaway attack here with Shinkai, but it fails. As you can see, loses all of his energy basically immediately. The peloton is on the tail of the breakaway, so they will definitely not get away. And as usual, we will not be able to get into that breakaway at the end of the day. That means that we end up here getting ready for the mass sprint. Our sprint train is slowly but surely forming. Most of our riders are already exhausted by this race. For a flat race, it has been very exhausting. A lot of ups and downs, a bit hilly. I did not expect it to be that way in this race. You see those little 3 red dots in the middle of the map or throughout the map, each indicating an uphill section of this race. And once again, we are so weak here with our riders that any uphill sections are tough for us. But let's hope that we can perform here in these last 4 kilometers. I know that stamina is the most important part here in this race. I know that we don't want to sprint too early with our sprinters. You see some riders already trying to go for the attack, trying to get away here from this team and trying to break away here towards the finish line. You see me here trying to click with our sprinters. 1 kilometer to go. The lead out is going, but the group on the right has already gone and is away here from our team. No top result here in this first stage of the episode. We try and at least sprint for a top 10 and we will succeed at that. Will it be at least a 7th place? Yes, it will be. Hino finishing in 7th place. Suzuki in 9th. The sounds also don't match up because for the first time ever, I messed up the audio in these races, so I apologize for the audio. I tried to copy it over. You see most of the clicky sounds are not lined up. They're not doing as well. Normally you would have them in this stage as well, or in this screen as well, and in the previous section. You probably noticed that they didn't line up. That's because I switched around my audio by accident. So no real audio for the first couple of races, but I wanted to keep them in because I think there are some of these races in here that we have done quite well, including this one, a 7th and 9th place for our team. We are still getting used to our team. We are still getting used to our riders. 2 riders in the top 10 is an achievement for us here in this race. Now let's quickly go on to the second stage of today, a very hilly stage for us. And once again, we are mostly a sprinters team. Our hill riders and mountain riders are not the best. We already seen that most of our sprinters are not even the best. So we brought out all the relatively okay mountain riders that we have, and we'll just try and survive here in the peloton and try to be part of the breakaway once again. I think especially looking at our team, if we can be in that breakaway, we have a best chance for a good result. But of course, we are not able to get into the breakaway, and it means that 6 kilometers before the end of today's stage, we are trying to get our team towards the front of the peloton. 41 riders remaining. Most of our team is already exhausted and done for today. I just want to stick in the wheel as much as possible of these riders. Again, apologies for the sounds. They do not line up here with what is happening in this race, and that is because I messed up the audio, and you'll notice that soon enough. Shinkai now the only one with a little bit of energy remaining, just trying to stick in the wheel here of these riders, but even that is too difficult for him. With 1.5 kilometers remaining, the group jumps away. He is unable to follow. I have no idea where they get the energy from, and Shinkai tries to do a final sprint here towards the end in this group of 9, hoping to once again get at least a top 10 position here for our team. Abe, who should have been our main mountain rider of the team, is already 1 minute behind. And here in the final classification of this race, you see here Ruji getting an 11th place here in the Grand Prix de la Ville Alger. So not a great job here by our team. I would expect to do a little bit better in these races, or try to be a little bit more upfront, but also it was a hill race. It was a little bit of a mountainy race, and we are just not good at it. And you see me just checking out the competition here. How did they manage to keep up their energy until the very end? It is very impressive to me, but nothing that we can really do about it. So let's quickly move on to the Tour of Alanya. Again, a flat race here for us. So I'm hoping that our sprinters will perform. 2 little mountain sections there in this race. They need to survive that mountain area. And if they do, I think they'll be successful here in the mass sprint. Once again, stamina is the important part as well. They need to make it towards the end. But I'm hoping that, again, they don't lose too much stamina on those hill sections, and we'll be able to make it very stably towards the final parts of this race. Immediately a breakaway happens. Immediately we are not part of this breakaway, and that means that we will just relax here in the middle of this peloton. Not a lot of opportunities here for us to do anything, but just wait it out here towards the end. And you join us now with 9 kilometers left here in the Tour of Alanya. We have our sprint train going. We are set up quite well. Most of our riders have survived towards the end, although their energy has been weakened a lot. So not the full red bar as we would like it here towards the end of this race. And this is one of the races why I wanted to keep this in. Why even with the messed up audio, I wanted to try and keep this race in, because I think this is one of the best leadouts that we have ever done here. You see our team sprinting away from the peloton. This has never happened before here in any race before with our team. There's plenty of riders here up front that we're trying to chase down. They have a big enough gap here on our team. We are trying to get closer and closer to these riders. They are losing more and more energy, so we kind of keep getting up to them. We kind of keep reaching them and then moving on towards the next little group as much as we can. Less than a kilometer remaining, I think, but it's not us. It is the riders that are ahead. And here is the final kilometer mark. I sprint here with Hino. There are still a couple of riders here in front of us. Can we make it here in the top 5? No, the top 5 is just out of our reach. But the 6th place here by Hino is probably one of the best results we've had in this race, or in these races with our team. I think as best we had a 4th place in the previous race. So a 6th place here is an incredible result here by Hino Taisei. Our other riders getting across the line in 12th and 20th position, and the other riders obviously much later. No points for them, no decent result for them. And 82nd place is our final rider, so much towards the last people in the peloton. In the end, however, a 6th place here for Hino Taisei. An incredible job by our Japanese rider here, our Japanese sprinter. Oh my god, did I just... Yes, Exios, you just noticed that you messed up the audio and switched it around. So, good job, let's pay attention to make sure that doesn't happen again. Let's quickly move on to the Visit South Asian Islands. The first stage, which is very hilly, but we have so much experience in this race with our Korean team that I'm hoping that with that experience will transfer over here with our Japanese team. This time, however, with decent audio in this race. So that's nice to have, I guess. No messed up audio anymore for the remainder of this episode. There are finally some bonus seconds to be gotten as well in this race, and that is what we want to aim for if we can get out of this peloton. That is always the question, if we are able to do so. Hino here up front of this peloton. There isn't too much of a breakaway yet, so I want to move him a little bit upwards, hoping that if he jumps away soon, he will be able to join that breakaway. He has minus statistics, so maybe not the best stage for him today, but maybe some additional bonus seconds would work out for him. But Hino in the end was unable to make it towards the breakaway, and that means that we are left with 5 riders here in the final section of this race. 2 of our riders already finished because of the tough nature of this race. You see Abe as well already losing most of his red bar. I am trying to juggle our riders as well as possible, trying to make sure that they stay on the wheel as long as possible. But our riders are struggling. They're having a tough time here, and the hill section is not even here yet. The uphill finish that is about to show up in a couple of kilometers will be the tough part here for this race. A little bit of a downhill section, and I want to be up front here in this downhill section just to try and recover a little bit of energy, at least to be positioned properly here for this final hill area with 2 kilometers to go. Here is the lead out by Suzuki, a sprinter slash hill rider. He should be able to lead out Hino relatively well. 1 kilometer remaining. This seems to be ideal here for Hino, who is in front of the other riders. He moves out. He is so far ahead of the other riders. He's definitely going to not make it across the line as first, because he once again runs out of energy. Oh, it looked so good for our team. I thought this would be the first win in this very difficult stage, a first win over team, and immediately in the first stage of this Visit South Asian Islands. I was hoping our experience with Korail would be useful here on this Japanese team, but we get across the line here in 9th. What a shame here for Hino Taisei. I was really hoping that he would be making it towards that finish line, be able to cross it, but just running out of energy in that last 100 meters. That just shows that we need to sprint even later here with the team. If we were a little bit more patient with maybe 2 or 3 seconds, we would have been able to sprint even better here. Let's see if we can recover that mistake here in the second stage of the Visit South Asian Islands. This beautiful Greek race that is very, very difficult in this hilly terrain. And the second stage is much more hilly than the first one, so it will just be a matter of survival here for our team. Hino this time, however, with positive statistics. I'm hoping that that will work out for him in the final part of this race. Our mountain riders doing less well, and you join us here with 7 kilometers to go. We are at the top of that first mountain, and for some reason I make a mistake and Suzuki stops cycling. He gets passed by most of the peloton. He tries to sprint forward to gain back that momentum here of our sprint train, but we already have such a big gap here towards the front of the race. The remainder of our riders struggling as well. You see me trying to fix it here to make sure that Abe is not blocking any of our riders, but they are so far in the back of this peloton, and this peloton will not stop for anything anymore. It is only 3 kilometers remaining. They will all move forward towards that finish line. They have all tried to sprint across that finish line as first to try and get those bonus seconds to position themselves for a great classification here in the general classification, and we are just trying to get forward as much as possible. Suzuki still doing a great job, to be honest. A little bit over a kilometer remaining. Our mountain rider Morimoto also doing pretty well here in this race, trying to stay on the wheel for as long as possible. 400 meters to go. I tried to sprint here with Morimoto, but it was 400 meters for the front rider, so a bit of a mistake here by myself. If only I waited a little bit longer, maybe we could have had a better result, but a 5th and a 6th place here by our team is still pretty good. Hino here in the end, also trying to get across the line. Will he be there in a top 20 position? Yes, he will be. At 20th place for Hino, but if I positioned that better, maybe he would have had a lot more energy left and he could have sprinted to a good general classification, or to a good stage result here, which would mean a good general classification result for him as well. That means that Hino sadly moves down 3 places in the general classification, moves out of the top 10, and that means no good general classification here for us today. A poor result here by our team once again in the general classification. Obviously the stages went all right, I would say, but we didn't really perform as well in the general classification in the end. If only we did a little bit better with Hino in the second stage, I feel like we would have easily had a top 10. But alas, no good result here for us. Let's see if we can get a good result here in the UMAG Classic. It's so silent without a commentator. I'll just keep talking. You know, that's what I do best, I guess. A very flat stage here. Obviously, it is hilly, but in the end, I think it will definitely be a mass sprint. So we have our sprinters with us once again. Yoshida with a +3, even though he is one of our support riders, because look at those statistics, how poor they are in general. Suzuki, one of our sprinters slash hill riders, who normally is the lead out for Hino, also with a -3, and Hino himself with a -1. Will you join us back 8 kilometers before the finish? You see a lot of these riders actually fell off already. Those hills, too tiring for most riders. A lot of our riders in the team as well already exhausted. A lot of the yellow bar is gone, but we still have some of that red bar remaining, and that will matter for the sprint. Right, so we are in that downhill section now towards those last 5 kilometers. I'm hoping that downhill section will contribute to us not losing too much energy and not losing too many positions. But you see how tricky this sprint is. You see us weaving through the peloton, trying to gain more positioning. We lose energy here towards the end. I don't switch to the next rider quickly enough. More than a kilometer remaining. Hino here has to do it all by himself with more than a kilometer left. Not great here for our sprinters. You see the rest of our team trying to sprint as well as possible, but Hino unable to catch up with the group in front. No real opportunities here for us either here in this Czech race. A poor job here by us once again. A 14th place here for Hino is the best that we can do. And are we too enthusiastic about how our performance will be? Do we expect too much from our riders? Maybe. Once again, this is the weakest Japanese team in the entire world. Hino Taisei, our #1 rider, in a 14th position. We have it set so that the performance matters a lot, so that the statistics matter a lot, and Hino is definitely not one of the best sprinters in the world. Therefore, maybe a 14th position is actually really good for him, but it's difficult when comparing him to many other teams and comparing him to Kovril, where we're doing very well. Next up, the Rhodes Grand Prix, another race here in the beautiful Greece Islands. Very flat, except for that hill in the middle, although I'm assuming that we will survive that hill rather easily and just gear up towards a mass sprint here at the finish line. So we will stick here in the peloton. Let's quickly look at our statistics. It's not terrible, not great. I think our lead out is not doing well once again, and most of our riders with minus statistics, so not great there for them. I'm hoping that they will be good in the lead out and that it won't matter too much for them in the end. As long as they make it there towards the end of this race and they can lead out Hino towards a good result, that is what really matters here in this race in the Rhodes Grand Prix. You join us now 9 kilometers before the end. How did we do? Well, absolutely terrible. Hino is the only rider in this peloton remaining with energy. The race was much tougher than I thought it was. I thought it would be much flatter, but these little hills here and there have absolutely exhausted our riders. The peloton has most definitely sped past the hill in the middle, leaving most of our riders behind. You see here the minus statistics really playing its part here in the results of our riders. Already 12 minutes behind is our final rider. Hino still available in the peloton. He's just trying to cruise along, trying to be able to set up for that sprint. Getting blocked here a little bit by other riders, trying to improve his positioning here and there, making sure that he gets to the front, making sure that other riders try to catch up with the breakaway that is still going here, 9 seconds in front of the peloton. Hino's positioning is rather well here, 1 kilometer remaining, hoping that he can pull this off nicely. 500 meters left. I thought that was the finish line, to be honest, and this looks like a pretty decent sprint here from Hino, although he loses his energy immediately once again. God darn it, Hino, an 8th place for him. If he had any more energy remaining, maybe he could have improved his positioning, but a top 10 in the end by Hino once again here in the Rhodes Grand Prix. Once again, not really the result that we expected, not really the result that we wanted, but is this the best that we can do? Maybe. Normally a top 10 would be cheered by many other smaller continental teams. I feel like this is a team that is much closer to a club team even. Pretty sure this is a club team even. So a club team, a top 10 in a 1.2 race would normally be cheered upon. For us, it's disappointing. Let's see if we can do better in the I Feel Slovenia race, which again, I've never done before. I don't think this is a race in Pro Cycling Manager 24. So it's fun to see this race with this weird name, I would say. It's not really a name that is expected here with most of these races. So it's cool to see that there's a bit of a different naming convention here for this race in Slovenia. Again, a bit of hilly section here in the beginning. It looks rather flat for the remainder of this race, although it looks flat on the screen in the loading screen. But as you can see here towards the end, you see the little hills, the little mountainous area before the finish line has already wreaked havoc on our team. A lot of them already behind. Morimoto, our best mountain rider, our best hill rider, I should say, now trying to lead out Hino as well as possible, trying to move him more towards the front of this peloton to make sure that he can do a lead out towards the end of this race, trying to just stick it out here, trying to follow the sprint trains that are already going. It is so tough for him to even do just that, and he already loses energy with 2 kilometers remaining. That means Hino is on his own. A group has already sprinted away, 17 seconds off the lead. Other riders are trying to catch back up with this group. Hino just trying to surf on their wheel, trying to get towards that front group. Little bit over 100 kilometers remaining. A sprint here with Hino. Again, a very poor result here by our team. Not the energy that we had. No stamina here for us to really perform. Do we at least get a top 20 position? Not even that. No top 20 here in this very difficult hilly race, which I'm pretty sure was classified as flat, but yes, very difficult in this hilly race. A lot of little hill sections here and there, very tiring for our riders that are already not good on the hills and in those mountains, and Hino ending up in a 21st position. This might be one of our worst results so far, maybe, question mark. And this just shows that the statistics really matter here in these races, right? We put that on earlier, we put that it's fair. Worse riders should perform worse as well, and that shows here in these races. Now on to our second multi-day race here, starting with the Jamaica Classic here. 3 days of racing, 3 flat stages, and therefore 3 opportunities for Hino to get a podium place, I would say, or maybe even a win. Again, we're trying to get that win here with our team, with our riders. That would be the ideal situation here, the ideal outcome. Will that happen? I am unsure. But we will try our best here in the coming 3 days in this Jamaican race here that we have. Again, no real reason for us to go into the breakaway. It is quite a long race here for our team. The best solution here is to just sit back in the peloton, recover as much as possible, protect Hino for the final sprint with a -1 statistics. Ow. That means that Suzuki instead will be our sprinter today. +2 statistics for him, beating Hino in the sprint statistics. So I'm hoping that he will do well here in this final sprint. Sprint train is going here with 5 kilometers remaining. That means we are gearing up towards a pretty good final sprint. I hope at least Abe is trying to give his all to stay up front, but we keep losing positions. I'm sure this is because of his flat statistics. He lost the wheel basically of all of the sprint trains. Morimoto making sure to try and get back into the final positioning, or try to get towards the front of this peloton. We do an early sprint here to try and compete with these riders. Less than a kilometer remaining. I do a big sprint here with Hino and Suzuki to try and get towards the front. A bit of a failed sprint by me. Hino here with a mighty performance trying to get towards the front. Does he at least get a top 10? It looks like it. An 8th position here for Taisei Hino. A pretty okay sprint. Nothing too spectacular. I think if we were better positioned, he would have had a chance to beat the riders up front. But in the end, it's an 8th position here for our Japanese rider. The rest of our riders coming across the line here in 14th and 15th. Not really the result that we wanted, but hey, a relatively okay exit position here for Hino. Still 2 stages left here in the Jamaica International Cycling Classic. So I'm hoping that in those 2 races, he maybe wins one of those races and gets into that top podium position, or gets into somewhere close to a top 5. We'll have to see. It is a hope that I have, and maybe it'll come true. Again, we want to win a race at some point. On to the second stage, another very flat stage. No in-between sprint points, that means no in-between bonus seconds either. So we'll have to literally just get bonus seconds from the final sprint. And for sure, it will be another fast sprint. A rainy day today here in Jamaica. We will sit in the peloton. We will defend our riders. Our sprinter does not have any negative statistics, so that's always good. Morimoto, our hill rider, has a +2, so that's also pretty good. And I don't think there will be a breakaway here. And if there will be, they will not last all the way towards the end. So not much of a chance there for us. Our lead out also not in a negative statistics mood today, so that is good for us. Right, pretty decent statistics here for our team, hoping that they will do well here in the final sprint. Talking about that final sprint, 8 kilometers to go. We have our sprint train going. I'm learning from the previous one. You see me not using Abe or Morimoto at the first start, although Morimoto did a pretty good job here in the previous stage to try and catch up more towards the front. Abe losing a ton of position, so our main lead-out guys are up front here. A big fall, I think, there in the pack, making sure that those riders are gone from the front. Poor for them, but we still have 4 kilometers remaining. We're already using a lot of our riders. What do we want to do here? Do we want to stick it out, or do we want to catch up to one of the sprint trains? One of the sprint trains there on the right doing an incredible job here in their lead-out. They are so far up front. We are so far away from the front of this race. Still 1.5 kilometers remaining. You see the 1 kilometer point there. Shinkai now sprinting from his wheel. Hino now sprinting from Shinkai's wheel, trying to catch up towards the guys here up front. But the sprint train on the right was much, much too strong for us. No way for us to really catch up here towards the end. Hino sprints past at least one more rider and gets into a 9th position here. 10th for Shinkai, and Morimoto in 14th. Still a pretty good result here from our team. 2 riders in the top 10 this time instead of just 1, so I will take it. I think the rider from Panama there in front, so he's doing incredible. Really good job here by these Panamese riders in today's stage. General classification, we move up 1 position with Hino and 5 with Ryuji. Great job here by our team. Not really expected to move up that many with our riders. 2 riders now in the top 10 in the general classification. That means that if we do finish the stages or the race in this position, we would get additional UCI points. Let's try and do our best for that in the 3rd stage. You see the rest of our riders also moving up except for Abe. Great job here by our team in this 2nd stage of the Jamaica International Classic. A lot of these Dutch riders here moving down, sadly for them. They were probably part of the fall just before the finish line, and if that happens, there's no chance for you to catch back up towards the front. On to stage number 3 here in the Jamaica International Cycling Classic. Very flat stage, once again, perfect for the sprinters. Will definitely be a mass sprint in the end. There's no exception this time in this race, I am certain. Our main sprinters looking not that great this time though, with a -2, so it will be a very tough race here for us. The riders that will not sprint or will be part of the sprint train and set it up do have the positive statistics, so that is not great for us. You see me contemplating, do I send a rider out or not? In this relatively short race, less than 100 kilometers, I tried to gamble it with Abe, but let's be honest here, no chance for him to get towards the end. If he does, then maybe we could get somewhere close, or he can get a decent position in the third race, but I have no faith in him getting all the way towards the end in a breakaway. So I try to get towards the front and try to get in the breakaway, but there's no chance for us to actually do so. On to the last 8 kilometers, and as the commentator would say, this race will end up in a mass sprint. And it definitely will be for sure the same thing this time. However, the tactics are different. I tried to split up my team this time to sprint with 2 different groups. One is on the wheel of the yellow jersey, the Panamese rider that has been doing incredibly well here in this race. You see me accidentally clicking all the energy gels for our riders. Not really a purposeful decision there, a bit of a mistake there by me. But the remainder of our riders trying to sprint and try to lead out as well as possible here. Here for Katsura, who will do the sprint on the right side, and Hino, who will do the sprint on the left side. All we want to do is stick in the wheel here with our riders. Shinkai losing the wheel of the Panamese rider, and that means that Hino, with 1 kilometer to go, has to push himself to try and get towards the front. The rest of our riders not sprinting as well. I'm really messing up this sprint here with the main part of our riders. Hino here trying to sprint towards the front, using up all of his energy, and gets across the line here as 12th. A poor sprint there as well. I put my focus in 2 different places, and this is the result. It did not pay off. Our strategy did not pay off. Maybe if I did it better or did our original strategy, it would have been better. But in the end, 4 riders in a top 20 position. Hino moving down a position. Shinkai actually in 10th here, stayed in 10th. Pretty decent job here by Shinkai. I did not expect it. The rest of our riders moving up a bit once again, but still no podium, still no victory here. Even though there were 3 flat races, no good result here from our team. At least in the general classification, we have 2 riders in the top 10. Again, for our club team, probably incredible. Amazing here by us. Normally a big result here for us, something that we should be happy with. But I am expecting more. I'm expecting to do better. My hopes and my expectations are much higher for our riders. So I'm just wanting to do better. I'm hoping to do better. And 2 riders in the top 10 is not really the result I expect from our team. However, maybe we should just be happy with this. On to the Tour of Mersin, starting off with an incredible mountain stage. Oh no, this will definitely be very tricky for us. Mountains and mountains galore, and we do not have a team for the mountains, so I want to try and get ahead here, because there are in-between sprint points and in-between bonus seconds to get. So if I can get those, that would be great. So you see me try and send out Suzuki here in the beginning of this race. Try to move up towards the front. The sprint point is so close towards the front, or towards the start of this race, that it is basically immediately. So we do not get any bonus seconds there. And other than that, we try to move our riders forward to try and set it up for that second in-between sprint point here with Suzuki. Try to move forward to try and be part of the breakaway and try to get any additional bonus seconds if possible. You see him jumping away. In the meantime, we'll try and defend our mountain riders and our hill riders. Morimoto is our best hill rider today. Hino, our best sprinter. So those 2 riders will be protected here in the peloton, while Suzuki will be part of the breakaway. On to that second in-between sprint point. You see there's no red bar remaining for Suzuki. He is exhausted. He has been sprinting full out to try and be away and trying to get away even more here from the peloton. Doesn't get across the line here as 3rd, so an additional bonus second for him. But I'm going to be honest and say there's no chance for him to really do much in this final section of the race. On to that final section of the race, you see the riders have already finished the line. Morimoto is our best finisher here, riding up this hill to try and get even close towards that group in front. He is already 3.5 minutes behind this mountain race has been so incredibly difficult for our team. We are absolutely nowhere. There's no chance for us to get a good result here in general classification. Once again, we tried to be upfront. We tried our best to survive. We tried to stay here and do anything with our team, but no good result here by our team, very sadly. A lot of Japanese riders actually ahead of us, so maybe it's just a me issue, maybe it's just a team issue. I have no idea. Morimoto is our best finisher here in the 114th position. This is going to be a very tough race, especially if we want to accomplish anything in general classification, which we're already 6 minutes behind on the number 1. I don't think there will be many chances for us to perform. The next best rider is Shinkai with 12 minutes. Mori here with 13. Hino, our main sprinter, with 18 minutes. Suzuki here, who normally is the lead out for Hino, 31 minutes behind the number 1 in this race. No real chance here for us to do anything. You see Suzuki got some points here in the in-between sprint sections and the mountain sections, but obviously the mountains themselves were too tiring for him. He already lost a lot of energy in the beginning to try and be part of the breakaway, and that absolutely broke him, ending up 30 minutes behind the number 1. Most of our riders in place 140 and lower. So once again, a poor start here in the Tour of Mersin. I have no idea why I signed up for this incredibly difficult race. Probably due to this race here, this stage right here, the second stage of the Tour of Mersin, a very flat stage where I'm hoping to get a good result with our sprinters. Big crowd here today in the second stage of the Tour of Mersin, so I'm hoping that that will motivate our riders even more, except apparently the rain doesn't help, because Hino, our main sprinter, with -2 statistics. Oh boy, it is not the day for us once again. You see Hino is at least up front here in the peloton. The peloton already chasing after the breakaway that is trying to form. I want to send Abe maybe into this breakaway. He is 24 minutes behind the number 1, so I'm hoping that they'll let him be in the breakaway, trying to at least get some sprint points and some mountain points here in this race, which would be nice for him, but the peloton is very actively chasing. You see how difficult it is for him to even get away from the peloton. Maybe a poor choice here by me. I should have waited until the peloton actually caught up here towards this breakaway, but I just wanted to desperately be part of this breakaway and try to do anything here with Abe to make sure that he gets some additional bonus points and bonus seconds. In this second mountain point, you see we are pushing here to try and break off some of the sprinters, or trying to at least get some mountain points here in this stage. There's 2 riders still ahead, and Morimoto gets across the line here as third. Good job, Morimoto. At least you get some mountain points here. 7 mountain points for him, but there's so many riders up ahead that it was not really worth the effort to push on here. You see how devastating it is for Hino and Suzuki as well to be part of this push up this mountain. That means that 8 kilometers before the finish line, we are left with 3 riders. None of our riders behind were able to really recover and try to catch back up here in this race. So a lot of riders here behind the peloton, still the peloton with 155 riders remaining. So I'm sure that for most of these riders, apparently, it was not too exhausting at all. That means our sprint train has started, but 5 kilometers left and 3 riders means that we need to be careful of our energy. Morimoto already being blocked here by some of these riders, already having issues trying to get towards the front. Most of our riders are blocked in here. The other sprint trains are also going. 3 kilometers remaining. I'm trying to stick with this group as long as possible, but it's already moving away from me. This is so tough here for our riders. I'm hoping that they will be able to catch back up with them. 1 kilometer left here. I do a very early sprint here with Suzuki because of these corners, hoping that this will matter here for our riders. Hino now jumping from his wheel, trying to get towards the front. He is shoulder to shoulder with another sprinter, trying to get past some of these riders here in front of him. He is getting a little bit blocked. He does move towards the right. A 14th position here for Taisei Hino. Oh, a big sprint here by him. I think he was in an even worse position. So in the end, a pretty okay sprint here for him to get towards at least that 14th position. A 16th place here for Suzuki Uzuri, not ideal for him. Morimoto here in 25th as well. What a poor result here once again for the team. I think a pretty okay job here by Hino, but look at this result here. 2 riders here out of time. Ryuji barely just making it, making sure that at least we have 2 riders away from the team. And we start the 3rd stage, this very hilly stage, with 4 riders. If they cannot survive a relatively flat stage and make it to the finish line but are out of the time limit, then how difficult will it be for our riders in this stage? Again, it is supposed to be hilly, but this stage looks like it could be part of a Tour de France stage. I have no idea why this stage is classified as a 2.2 stage. This seems incredibly difficult, incredibly tough here for our riders. I've tried to at least send away Suzuki to hopefully be part of the breakaway. I'm hoping that they won't push him too much. I'm hoping that he will just stick on the wheels here of these riders, and hopefully they make it towards the end of this race and he can have a good performance here in the team. Meanwhile, we'll try to defend Morimoto and maybe Hino. Morimoto, our hero rider, will have the best chance here in this race. And as you can see here now, still 50 kilometers remaining. Most of our team is gone. We are just trying to stick onto the wheel here in this peloton. It is absolutely exhausting here for our team. We are having so many difficulties just trying to be part of this peloton. Same here now in this first or in this last in-between sprint point, and this is where Morimoto loses the wheel, not even able to stick it out here in the peloton. 36 riders remaining up front, so once again this will be a poor result here for the team. As you can see, already 2 minutes behind the peloton that has finished here, trying to just stick it out here, trying to just make it towards the finish line. The time keeps counting, it keeps going. There's still 1 kilometer remaining. Morimoto just trying to cycle it out here towards the finish line, trying to sprint it to try at least improve his positioning here in this stage, but gets across the line 5 minutes behind the peloton. Hino 18 minutes behind the peloton, Shinkai 49 minutes behind the peloton. So I'm afraid that we're losing another rider here in this Tour of Mersin. We tried our best, and as you can see here, Suzuki in 114th position across the line. I am frustrated, I am annoyed, I'm worried that we might not even will be able to, or we will not be even able to finish this tour with any of our riders, because as you can see, Suzuki here, it doesn't say out of the time limit, but he finished 1 hour behind the #1 rider here across this stage. I have no idea how they have so much energy left. I have no idea how these riders are doing so incredibly well here in this stage. They must be so much better than our team, but we are just having so many issues to try and stick up front here, to try and even participate in the peloton and try to make it here towards the finish line, as you can see, with our rider being 1 hour behind the #1. And that means that we enter the last stage of the Tour of Mersin with only 3 riders. And I honestly don't even know how I will do a lead out with these 3 riders. At least their statistics are positive, I guess. But look at that hill there in the beginning. That will already test our riders. If we lose the wheel with any one of them, then we will be in so much trouble here with our team. You see me ordering Suzuki to protect Hino at least, because Morimoto will make it across the hill. I'm certain of that. I'm sure he will do well. Even just sticking in this peloton, look at the red bar just disappearing. I have no idea why. I have no idea how quickly or why it is going this quickly. The tempo must be so high with such a small percentage that is going upwards. I don't understand why it is so tough here for our riders to just stick it out here in the peloton. 6 kilometers remaining. We are thankfully still in the peloton. We have 3 riders remaining. We are trying to do a lead out as best as we can. I don't know how successful it will be, but the important part is that Suzuki leads us towards the front. I'm hoping to stick it on the wheel of one of the sprint trains that is going on here. We are already losing the front here, even with Morimoto, even with his statistics, who is just trying to make sure that he gets towards front, towards these little sprint trains that are happening. A little bit over a kilometer to go. I do a very early sprint with Morimoto because of this corner that is here. Try and position Hino here in this final sprint. The other riders are already jumping away. Once again, a very poor sprint here by our team. Our team getting nowhere close towards that front line, not even a top 10 position here in this stage. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong here in these sprints. Is it the inexperience? Is it the poor statistics of our team? Is it just that the other riders are just that much better? I have no idea. But in the end, we don't even get a top 20 with our riders in this stage. That means in the general classification, we do even worse. Morimoto is our best finisher in a 58th position, Hino in a 135, and Suzuki in 152. I think this is the worst tour/stages so far. A visibility of 0 as well. We lost half of our team that were out of time. So a very poor result here in the Tour of Mersin. Again, I have no idea what I'm doing wrong here in these sprints. It is such a tough position to be in. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to position our riders as well as possible. But with the riders that we have, it is so incredibly difficult. Looking at the total points, at least we scored a ton of points here in this stage. So we went from around 20 points to 57 points. A really good job here by our team. Hino being the main point scorer, getting a couple of good top 10s here in those day stages, getting those 10 points here and there. You see 3 points in the Jamaica International Cycling Classic as well. And Shinkai, 3 points as well, 3 UCI points by being in the top 10 in the Jamaica International Cycling Classic. In the Grand Prix Sonata, Suzuki also getting 3 additional points, so great job by him. Totaling now up to 57 points. Would we want to have done a little bit better? Yes, for sure. But also, I think looking at some of the riders here, looking at the riders in general, getting 51 points, and it is just the beginning of the season, is an incredible start here by our team, especially for a small team like we have at this moment. So I think with the results that we have, it is something to be proud of. However, I want to do better. I'm expecting better, and maybe in the next episodes, I will need to adjust those expectations, because what is to come, I'm not entirely sure. That's it for today's episode. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the second episode of bringing this Japanese team all the way towards the Tour de France. It will be a long struggle, so I hope you will be able to stick it out. Hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you again for watching, and see you guys next time. Goodbye.